Hey everyone, welcome back to Dev Parkour. This video is going to be a little bit different, and I'm actually looking for feedback from you all. So, last night, no, the night before, um, sometime over the last couple days, the RAID disk array in my main homelab machine, as it seems to be called these days, just died. I mean, these disks are super old, have been in this machine for, I don't know, over 10 years probably. So it was living on borrowed time anyway. So I'm not surprised that it finally died. I have backups, so that's not a concern. But the big question is, what should I do next? And before I get into that, let me actually show you kind of what I've been working with. Um, so over here is my machine, and you can see there's five bays right there for disks. Um, there's one internal disk, and then those five. And sorry if the camera's kind of shaky because I can't actually see what I'm doing here. Um, but I've got this cute little enclosure, and these are the disks that I've been using. Let's go over this way. Um, yeah, so I've been using 1.5 terabyte disks, and there were five in there. Initially, it was a RAID 5, so it was basically four times 1.5 terabytes, and then one for redundancy. As the disks got older, let me scan. Let me see if I can find a date on these of maybe when they were manufactured or something like that. I'm not seeing anything, so I don't know. I know it's been at least 10 years. So kind of the way that I had it set up was initially all five of them were in that array, and then as the uh, disk array got older, I decided, you know what, maybe that's not the best idea. I kind of want a hot spare. So I ended up putting them in still a RAID 5, but four of the disks. So three for data and one for redundancy. If you know how RAID 5 works, it's striped. So it's not just there is one disk for redundancy. It kind of stripes the redundant parts across all four disks. Um, and then I would have one so that if one of the disks in the set of four that was active died, I could just, without removing disks and reinstalling them, I could just uh, swap the other one in. Um, Over the course of the last several years, they all just kind of started getting flaky. All those discs I bought at the same time, and I think I actually bought six or seven initially, because I knew eventually one was going to die, and even brand new discs, some of them are just they don't last as long as others. I got really lucky with these. I think it took me at least 10 years, maybe 12 years, 15 years to go through all six or seven, however many I bought initially. Um, so I think I got a good long life out of disarray. But the question is, what should I do next, right? Because back when I built this, 15 years ago, typically what you would do is um, you would have a machine and you would scale it up as big or as small as usually as big as you needed it. Um, but in that time, there have been a lot of advances in distributed computing, not just distributed batch computing. That was around back then. Things like Hadoop and that sort of thing, which is not something I was ever really interested in. Um, but now we have things like Kubernetes or some of the other things. Rancher, OpenShift, OpenStack was a thing for a while. I think that was Ubuntu's attempt at that sort of thing. One thing that I'm definitely interested in is the Ceph. I think that's how it's pronounced, CEPH, distributed file system or distributed storage platform. I guess is probably a good way to describe it. I don't know how they describe it. I've got friends who have built out uh, pretty sizable Ceph clusters, and that the advantage that that has is that I can throw a bunch of different machines, a bunch of different disks at the same cluster. They don't need to be the same size. They, if it's multiple machines, they don't all have to have the same amount of storage. Um, and the algorithms that go into it just kind of manage it and basically tell me, what kind of redundancy and resiliency I have and what the actual maximum storage is and the maximum recommended storage capacity is, which is kind of cool. That means that I wouldn't be limited specifically by the amount and size and type of disks that I have in this particular machine. Um, and who knows, I could do potentially some cool things with it. Um, Having multiple machines also would give me the opportunity to finally kind of force myself into learning Kubernetes and actually get a handle on how it's actually supposed to work and why I need 15 YAML files just to deploy a single service. Um, and who knows, maybe with multiple machines, it'll make a lot more sense to me than, all the examples I've gone through are using Minikube and running Kubernetes on a single node. Just it doesn't really make sense to me. Docker makes sense, but Kubernetes it hasn't quite sunk in yet. So maybe that would give me that opportunity. Um, but the easy approach would be basically just do what I've been doing. Buy a few new disks. Back when I got those disks, 1.5 terabyte disks, I probably spent $1,000 on 5 disks, or I guess it was more than that. So I feel like I spent a lot of money for the disks, and I feel like the disks that I can find now, I can find 4 terabyte disks that are at least as good, and appropriate for the use case that I'm using it um, for like $100 each. So if I went with 5 disks, because with 4 terabyte disks, I'd probably just do. I might only get 3 and do a RAID 5 with them. That's 8 terabytes right there with one for redundancy. That's a lot of storage. I'm not even using. I think I'm using 1.5 or 2 terabytes of the storage that I have. So I'm good on that front. Um, but if I did buy a few disks, like we're talking, maybe $500. That's not too bad. If I started going the distributed computing route and trying to build up this cluster, even if I tried to get used at the end of their official life, basically 3 or 4 year old machines and stuck a bunch of disks in them, we're probably blowing past $500 pretty quickly and easily. So that might be more of a longer term plan, and the short term plan just be, get this machine back up and running. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Is there something that you've been looking to try out and you want to see someone else make the mistakes first? I'd be happy to share. Whatever I do, I'll share what I'm doing in my process and um, you know what mistakes I make and what pitfalls I find and that sort of thing. Um, but or if there's something that you've done and you found it to be really uh, work really well, and you would recommend it for me. I'm looking for feedback here. In either direction, either definitely do this because it's worked well for me, or this is something I'm interested in. Can you make the mistakes, so I don't have to? That sort of thing. Um, but let me know. Let me know down in the comments. And of course, all the usual YouTube stuff. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you don't like this video, hit the thumbs down button. I'm okay with that. I appreciate that. Um, Comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next one.